Welcome back to Tarot by the Bay. I'm David. And that's Elle, and that's Nico. And my office is the cat playground. It has wrapping paper and feathers and cat toys and, well, cats. Because cats. Hang on, let me get the camera adjusted here. Alright, back to your regularly scheduled reading. Welcome everyone, welcome back. With the When Will Trump Go video, it's had a lot of views, over 100,000 views. It's one of my most popular videos. So thank you for folks who've discovered this channel and have recently subscribed. That's probably your gateway into it. I want to show, no, I'm appreciative of the fact that you watched that video and the videos afterwards. Whether it's the budget bill or the fatwa that's been declared. It's very encouraging to me when new subs come in or when the views are up, because it means my message is getting out. And the whole point of this is to share insights on political news events, hopefully to calm things down, even if it's messages you don't want to hear. Because sometimes understanding why something is happening makes it a little bit easier to digest. Now, that being said, for the folks that will be impacted by the ticking time bomb that is the bill, not the bill back better, the big beautiful bill, again, it's a time bomb. Most of the stuff doesn't happen immediately. I think like the tax cuts for overtime and for tips, that'll go effective immediately because they want folks to know that. Now, the bad stuff, the kicking people off of SNAP, kicking people off of Medicare, that'll happen after the 2026 election, so that you don't hate the Republicans quite so much for losing your ability to eat or get health care. Which just means it's our job to keep reminding the voting public of what's going on. Additionally, the way the Republicans have done their budget bill, the last one was the Trump budget bill in 2017, they give tax breaks to the middle class and below, but those usually expire after about 3 or 4 years. So if it expires in like 3 or 4 years, when Biden came in, folks in the middle class are griping because, you know, I'm paying more in taxes than I was before. Yeah, because the tax cuts that were under the Trump budget bill expired. And the Democrats didn't pass a new budget bill. It's like that short-term memory. I saw more than one TikTok video where people were complaining about it, and when they were told, we're still under the Trump tax plan. There's no Biden tax plan. They're kind of dumbfounded. You know, their brains start buffering and spinning because they hadn't thought about that. Now, the uber wealthy, their tax cuts lasted for like 8 years, 8 to 10 years. And I think the uber wealthy look, because they're not struggling to live day to day like everyone else, so they can look further down the road, so they know, and they have as Michelle was pointing out, they've got people to tell them, accountants and lawyers and things, that these tax cuts are coming due, and so they'll vote Republican again to put those same people in there to extend those tax cuts, which is what we saw with the BBB. Now they want to make those tax cuts for the uber wealthy permanent. They were supposed to sunset. Okay. Libby from Meister Tarot. Again, for those new to the channel, welcome. There are other great readers out there. Libby from Meister Tarot is among those great readers. She had something posted up on her community page today about a Trump insider being worried to talk about his Trump's decline. And I found the original article on Salon. I don't want to quote Libby. I want to quote the article. This was posted up on July 3rd. Donald Trump's latest activities have even some in his administration worried about his physical and mental health. Mind you, no one wants to talk about it openly, though there are a few who will spend the holiday break speculating. A member of the team bluntly told me, the author, I'd lose my job if I talked about this publicly, or worse. That sounds ominous. You know, losing your job, that's bad. But what could be worse? That sounds like physical threats, having MAGA turn loose on you, you know, mob talk. The causes for concern, according to a couple of members of the Trump circle, are his recent lackluster public appearances, his gait, his apparent befuddlement, his propensity to govern via Truth Social postings, his sloppy attire, and his lack of engagement at the White House with others. He hasn't shown up at the Oval Office on Mondays in about a month. He golfs in Virginia instead of Mar-a-Lago or Bedminster because he doesn't want to be gone from the White House as long. And this person ended saying that he doesn't think Trump is in good physical health. As far as the befuddlement, there was an article in USA Today. One example, aboard Air Force One recently, this exchange with reporters. A reporter, there was a car bomb in Moscow this morning that killed a Russian general. Do you have any reaction to that? Trump, who killed what? I'm sorry, let me try that again. Who killed what? A Russian general killed by a car bomb. Wow, no, I just heard. You're telling me that for the first time? Where did this take place? It took place in Moscow. There's other stories in here. There was from another interview, our magazine was interviewing him, and Trump said, if this were Biden, well, first of all, he wouldn't do an interview because he was grossly incompetent. Magazine. It was Time magazine. We spoke to him last year, Mr. President. Huh? We spoke to him a year ago. How did he do? It's because Trump's always comparing notes. You can read the interview yourself. Not too good. I did read the interview. He didn't do well. Okay, so you didn't know that Time interviewed him, but now you do know and he didn't do well. I mean, yeah, it's infuriating. Which one is it? And, for MAGA, it's always both. It's always both. Okay, long enough intro. Let's get to some reading, shall we? I'll put a timestamp on the in the title and the description so you can skip to the actual good stuff here. All right, so I'm going to look in general with this Salon article. The Insider is talking about Trump's health. Let's get a little bit of information on the Insider, shall we? Just to see what is this person all about. What's their motivation for doing this? Okay, again, this is for entertainment purposes only. Let's see what's going on with the Insider. 4 of coins, trying to keep information in. And this is probably not just the Insider, but this is going to be everyone in this circle. You've got to keep information close to the vest. You can't let stuff about his mental health, his physical health, or his gait out into the general public. Why? Because it's a winner-takes-all situation. If you play the game and you do your job, you get to keep your job. If you don't do your job, you're gone. And as I said, or worse, this guy's got all the swords and you're disarmed. You're at his mercy. Underneath it all is temperance. Temperance is about detoxification, integration. I think this is kind of a slow way of you're leaking the information out. Think of this as being a leaker. You're leaking the information out for general consumption, but you can't pour the whole cup from the top to the bottom because it'll splash out and spill everywhere. So you've got to let it come out slowly so that the whole story can come out of this issue. In the past, you got the Ten of Wands. Ten of Wands is about finality, staying on top, the difficulty of staying on top and staying on top of everything. And I think that's what we've got here. It takes a lot of work to stay on top of Trump's mental and physical ailments because they're prevalent. So you're constantly working, constantly spinning, constantly coming up with implausible explanations for what Trump does, what he says, and why he says it. Stephen Chung is shameless in his ability to defend Trump. And shameless as in he's so damn ridiculous he can't be taken seriously, but you have to take him seriously. For those new to the channel, let's go back to the Iraq War. Do you remember the Iraqi war, the information minister? And he was coming up with the most outrageous tales about the Americans. There's no Americans in Iraq. They're not at the border of Baghdad. Now, they got to the border of Baghdad, but then they drank poison and committed suicide. Every day he was like the Iraqi version of The Onion. If you know The Onion, it's a satirical magazine. He was like that version of it, but he was dead serious. The Trump administration, his spokespeople, they're just like that guy. It's just crazy town in the White House. Overarching energy is the world full cycle coming to an end. I think they know that Donald Trump is coming to an end here. Now, he's not supposed. This is his second term. He can't run for a third, at least not according to the Constitution. Doesn't mean that he won't try to figure out a way to stop from that. But I think they have two concerns. One, Trump he's at the end. He's at the end of his run, both politically and in this life cycle. And I think in some ways, this guy wants to get the information out to the world. And the world probably already knows. We're just in propaganda land with right-wing corporate media that's preventing the folks in the United States from knowing. Overarching energy is the Five of Cups. What is that we're seeing? There's disappointment. They don't know what to do with them. If you have 5 cups standing, Donald Trump any day will knock 3 of them over. And now you have to do damage control, which means you have to leave these 2 unguarded while you're doing this. And he'll get around to those cups as well. And the lesson to be learned is the Ace of Cups. The emotional part of it. I think Donald Trump is struggling emotionally. And it's strong emotions. It's going to get worse. It's a bigger spiral. I bet you there are no TVs or glass ketchup bottles that are safe. They probably only give him plastic ketchup bottles or packets or something like that. Outcome. 5 of coins. Now, coins are about wealth and health, and I'm not talking about wealth here. I think I'm talking about health here. I think we're seeing his decline is worse and worse. I'm sure he's getting treatment for it, but he's not getting all the treatment he should be getting because everybody's in denial about this. Look, we got 5 cards here. The 5s are 5 cards. The 5s are transitions. The transition of winner takes all. The transition of excitement to concern and disappointment, to going from having to not having your health to losing your health. His health is declining. And again, I think part of it is because for somebody like him, he should be in treatment 24/7. A person with dementia shouldn't be, if their dementia is severe enough, they shouldn't be on their own. And that's the thing, is he's getting some treatment, he's got doctor's appointments and such, but he's allowed, everybody around him is scared, that 5 of Swords again, they're scared to tell him the truth. So they just let him do what he wants. Okay. That's kind of what the insiders, especially this insider, that's what they're dealing with. And that 5 of Swords truly is, you better toe the line or else. It's not just you lose your job. I'm armed while you lose your job. Okay. Let's look at his mental health. No, I'm going to do his physical health first. Physical health. We've got the 3 of Cups and the 4 of Cups right next to each other popping out there. So he's not getting news to celebrate. Oh, stuff that he doesn't want to hear that is being celebrated. That 4 of Cups would be, you got bad health. That 3 of Cups would be us celebrating. What about his physical health? 7 of Wands. It's like he's got multiple symptoms. He's got multiple things going on. And the medical staff are trying their best to keep all of these things at bay. I was wondering when the 6 of Coins was going to show up. This is crossed with the 6 of Coins. This is the generosity. Again, these look like pills. and these are health. He's got lots of health issues, but there's nothing they can really do about it. Here, take these pills and call me in the morning. They're managing symptoms. They can't manage the underlying condition. And the underlying condition is going to be his downfall. There's no stopping it. Physical and mental health are both in decline, but it's going to be the mental health that goes first, and then the physical health will probably follow. But because I only say that because the lightning's knocking the dome off. The Dan Greeny video was saying his fall would be spectacular. This is about as spectacular a card as you're going to get. In the past, you got the Ten of Cups. I'm talking about his physical health here. Everything's sunshine and rainbows. Every time a doctor talks about Trump's physical health, they say, he's the healthiest man in the world. He'll live to 200 years. None of those doctors believe that. They're told to say that or else. That's why Trump also, one of his doctors in New York, he took all his medical records so that doctor couldn't leak those records, or there'd be no way for anybody to get a hold of those records. That doctor doesn't have it anymore. Current situation is the Queen of Cups. Again, we got cups here, so this is going more about the emotional part than the physical part, but we'll just keep reading with it. Keeping things quiet. Don't you dare talk about my physical health. More cups. It bothers him at a core level. His physical decline bothers him. We know he's incontinent. Why do we know that? Because people have made comments about his him wearing a diaper, and Michael Cohen calls them von Schützen pants. Yeah, he's never sued anybody for defamation because that would lead to discovery, which would mean you'd find out he wears diapers, and it kind of undermines his case. So he doesn't talk about it. But there are also pictures of Trump with a catheter. So he has no control of the downstairs region as far as urinating or defecating. And it really bothers him. Watching his body fall apart is really bothering him, and he's very angry about, do not let this information out about my physical health. It's also, coming back up, remember, dictators cannot show weakness. If you show weakness, people come in with the knives because they want to take the dictator down and then take his position. Lesson to be learned is the Ace of Pentacles. You have to say my health is good. You have to repeatedly, the arch is about repeating things. You have to repeat that my health is good. I am ordering you to do this. You keep everything else secret while they work on my symptoms. But the problem is the Hermit card, your body doesn't care what you tell people about your health. Your health is your health. And Trump doesn't take care of his health. He doesn't exercise. He doesn't eat well. He doesn't sleep well. He should be under a strict diet, strict exercise regime. He should not be in a stressful job. All that he's doing, everything he should be doing, he's not doing. And if you say, well, he's golfing 18 holes, yeah, in a cart, he's not walking the course. Now, if he's walking the course, then he'd get several miles worth of walking in. That would be good for him. But no, he jumps into a golf cart, walks around, takes a swing, jumps back into a golf cart, and drives several hundred yards. You're missing the point. Mental health. Although I do think, yeah, that mental, emotional health, that actually is, the physical health is deteriorating his emotional and mental health because he sees the downward spiral. Even if he tries to ignore it and pretend it doesn't exist, that Hermit card says you can pretend all you want. It's out there for everybody to see. As far as his mental health, it's kind of a progression. Again, taking action, a plan to address it. I don't think he's taking enough of an action or plan. Somebody with Alzheimer's should not be running wild, running loose. They should be guided. Crossed by the devil. He's delusional. He is absolutely delusional. And his mind is corrupted. And there's nothing they can do about it. Plans are slow, and this is just a lifetime of abuse on his emotional and mental health. He's morally corrupted in this case. Now, interesting, underneath it is the Eight of Cups, the walking away from the emotions. I think, yeah, his emotional health, it's retreating. It's in retreat. His emotional health is declining as well. Mental and emotional health, he's walking away. And there's nothing you can do about it. This is just the nature of the beast. Trump is not long for this world, at least not long for this world in the manner of being in charge. Queen of Swords in the past. This is just his own actions. It's like this is the way it's supposed to be. Current situation is the Emperor. He got this, his father had mental health problems, and now Trump has mental health problems. And the problem is you've got a madman, the Mad Emperor, in charge of the country. So we all get to experience his emotional decline. And a decline it's going to be. Cognitive is going away, but you have cognitive decline, emotional decline, health decline, moral decline, ethical decline. Just all these things are... Everything that he does, I mentioned earlier, he's doing everything wrong. Everything he should be doing, he's doing the exact opposite. And all of those are going to lead to his demise. The lesson to be learned is the Seven of Coins. You reap what you sow. He's been on this path, emotional and mental decline for a while. And this is what you get because he hasn't been... emotionally or mentally fine. And again, mentally, I think his mental faculties are taking a hiatus. They're leaving. It manifests itself against migrants, but he's gone. His mental health will go first, which is interesting because and that's also about the mental health too. The emotional health will follow mental health, but it's a trifecta of mental health declining, and physical health declining, leading to his emotional health declining. The mental health declining, he probably doesn't even recognize it really, because he didn't have far to fall, if you know what I mean. The physical health he'll see, because he had much further to fall with that. But as his mental health declines and his physical health declines, his emotional health declines. And that's when things get really dangerous, because that's when he might lash out. As these three things decline, his emotional health declines, how will that manifest itself? What are we going to see as his emotional health declines? The card wants to stay up. So I'm just going to I'll have two signifiers here. So we're going to see two different things. I've got my eyes, because I have no idea what that card was that came out. All right. His emotional health. As his physical and mental health decline, what happens with his emotional health? Okay, come on down. You'll see it's the King of Cups. Well, he's going to lose control of his emotions, but in my readings on Trump, this card keeps coming up. This used to represent Joe Biden. It's not Joe Biden anymore. Libby from Meister Tarot, I mentioned her earlier, had an epiphany that this might represent the United States of America. Let's go with Libby's association with that. The United States of America is going to notice it. They're going to notice that as his emotional health goes, his intellectual health goes, his emotional health is going as well. How it's going to manifest itself. You're going to see him, basically, he's going to go cray-cray. Cross with the Hanged Man. He's going to say even more and more bizarre things, and he's going to want to take more and more bizarre actions, and he's going to rage and throw people under the bus. He's just going to rage around those around him. And this is the Hermit card again that we had on the physical health. This is going to be for everybody to see, or as Dan Greeny said, it's going to be spectacular and undeniable. In the past, the Six of Coins, you can only manage the symptoms for so long, and then the symptoms can't be managed anymore. Current situation would be the Ace of Swords. This is justice. This is justice, the sword of truth. The truth is going to start coming out about him, and we're going to see him plain for who he is. Now, mind you, again, he's going to suffer physical, mental, and emotional health declines. but you're going to get them down to the core. Basically, the mask is going to slip. Most of us have already seen the mask slipping, but for those who haven't, they're going to see the mask slip. And the person they thought was their friend was a false friend the entire time. It's kind of like how people at the end of their life start speaking their mind. Like if you have dementia, you're unfiltered. It's like he loses his filter. And he starts telling people exactly what he thinks of them. Which, given this guy has so much anger and hatred in him, as well as he's an empty vessel because he has no ability to fill himself with joy. All he's got is darkness, anger, and spite, and then that spite comes out. The lesson to be learned is the King of Wands. Somebody is going to have to take action against him as he goes about this. This could also be folks finally getting together and saying, hey, look, you know what? We've got to do something about this. We cannot ignore it anymore. And then action needs to be taken. And then a decision needs to be made. What is that decision? You know, does he get arrested? Does he go to a facility? Let's see. They talk about actions that need to happen. The anxiety about what they have to do is real. This sounds like 25th Amendment stuff here. And then, and then his health is gone. You have to remove him because his health's declining. They will talk about his mental health and his physical health and what they need to do about it. The other thing about this card is it's kind of a card of going overseas. Somebody pointed out that Dubai is in the United Arab Emirates, and Dubai does not have an extradition treaty with the United States. Trump has also been extremely cozy with Saudi Arabia, and they do not have an extradition treaty with the United States either. Nor does Russia, but Putin's in serious decline too. And Russia would, I think Trump would love to go to Russia. I don't think Russia has enough golf courses for Trump, and it's got enough European women that he'd be in heaven. But Putin won't be in power for long. So that's a real short-term play. Saudi Arabia, he's fostered relationships with for the longest time. So it's more likely Saudi. For most of us, I think we'd rather go to Dubai because there's a lot happening at Dubai. But understand, Donald Trump doesn't do nightlife. He likes to golf. That's what he likes to do. He likes to golf. What are the courses like in UAE versus Saudi Arabia? I suspect they're more courses in Saudi Arabia. The LIV golf tournament that Trump is a part of, the headquarters for LIV is in Saudi Arabia as well. It seems a natural fit. Okay, spiritual lesson as we go through Trump's physical, mental, and emotional health declines. Let's find out what we're supposed to learn from all this, and then we'll wrap this up. Page of Pentacles. You can't just talk about taking care of your health. You actually have to do it. And it starts in your youth. Trump hasn't taken care of his health since he was a kid. And he acts like a child now. He doesn't, according to General John Kelly, John Kelly never saw a vegetable on Trump's dish ever. And that sounds like a kid, doesn't it? I'm just going to eat hamburgers and dessert for the rest of my life. And I'm never going to eat broccoli. The Moon card, the Nine of Wands, the Ace of Swords, and the Two of Swords. Okay, when you talk about your health is your providence. You have to manage it. And you have choices that you make when managing your health. Some of those choices have short-term consequences. A lot of them have long-term consequences. And, you can abuse your body for 30 or 40 years with no problems. You'll have maybe little problems. But later on in life, that's when it's like, this guy's beat up. He's lived hard. And now, here come the consequences. And you don't know what those consequences are or when they're coming, and you've earned it. Take care of what you put into your body. Take care of what you think. Take care of what you feel. All those three things contribute to your overall health. And it's our responsibility to manage all three of those. Okay, we'll leave it here. Thank you very much for watching this video and supporting my channel. I appreciate it. This reading is for entertainment purposes only, but I hope you found it insightful, and I'll catch you on the next video. Take care.